Hi everyone, so today I wanted to touch on what makes beauty timeless. And this is such a huge topic because I think it's a really deep topic, and I'm hoping to get into it in this video a little bit, but I don't know that I'll be able to cover everything in this video. So if you have anything that you feel makes beauty timeless, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, the stuff like my work. This is what I do. This is what my work is as an image consultant, and that is creating harmony within your appearance. And I do that with body typing and lines and features and color analysis and things like that. And the reason why I think that is so timeless, and this is sort of the first part of the video, is this, you know, appearance based, right? The reason why this is timeless is because this is about creating harmony. It's kind of like complementary colors are timeless. I mean, green and red looked good together in 500 BC and they look good together now. They still look good together. It's not about trends, it's completely timeless. That harmony is timeless. And that's sort of where the lines, the silhouette and everything of your outfits complementing you in a way that's really harmonious, your colors complementing you in a way that's harmonious, that's where that comes in. So I think that the difference between looking back at a photo of yourself or a photo of someone else and thinking, wow, those trends were just so horrible, 30 years ago, and looking back at a photo of someone and thinking, wow, this person just looks so excellent, is that those trends happened to be in the person's lines and colors. So when you don't dress in your lines and colors, you can often look confused or something. And if you're following trends that are not in your lines and colors, that's when things are very much not timeless. They're very much time bound to that trend. Because when we have a certain trend, we have what I've decided to call trend blindness. And trend blindness is basically that we just grow so accustomed to seeing this kind of item or this kind of outfit on people that we forget if it's flattering or not, because we're so used to seeing it. And a certain familiarity with something actually makes us like it more. That's just a part of human psychology. And so what happens is when there's a certain trend, everyone wears it, but only a few people are actually flattered by it. And then when that trend is gone, we start to feel it as more foreign. It feels more foreign to us a decade later, 2 decades later. And then when we look at those photos from the past, we see, I mean, trend, just statistically, it doesn't look good on most people. Like the same thing doesn't look good on everybody. So maybe 1 in 10 people is going to look really elegant and put together 30 years later in that type of trend and that type of item, but everybody else is going to look like they were just mindlessly following trends, and that's not very timeless. So I do think that that's why these people who have remained timeless style icons like Audrey Hepburn or Marilyn Monroe, they have actually been following their line recommendations, their silhouette recommendations. They're dressing for themselves, for their own beauty, for their own silhouette, for their own coloration. They're not dressing just to fit in with the times. And oftentimes they were trend setters, not trend followers. That's the other thing, is that, not to get sidetracked, but oftentimes the people who set trends are usually the ones flattered by it. And so, when I forgot her name, but that actress who plays Hermione in Harry Potter, she got a pixie cut, and then like everybody got a pixie cut. Yeah, well, she's a gamine. Of course she looks amazing in a pixie cut, but other people don't look amazing in a pixie cut. That's actually a pretty difficult haircut to pull off for a lot of people. And so everybody just ended up looking really bad in a pixie cut, except for people who happen to have her body type, which is like 1 in 10 people. So this is what happens, is that when people set trends, they're usually following their own lines and their own harmony. So then everybody thinks, oh, well, I'm going to look so great if I just follow what this person is doing. Of course not. You're not going to look great. What are the odds of that? So that's what tends to happen. So this is the aspect of just harmony, just harmony in what you're wearing. And that doesn't have anything to do with the times. And I really do wonder if even a long time ago, when clothing was more like, style was more restrictive, where it's like everybody kind of wore the same thing, like the 1800s or whatever, during those times, I'm sure that the people who were considered most beautiful were probably the ones who that clothing looked good on, you see? But actually, if the trends were different, then people who had different bone structure types would be considered more beautiful. It's just that when you wear something that doesn't flatter you, it just creates so much disharmony, and it almost makes the person looking at you feel like, oh, well, you're not beautiful, but actually the clothes are just not doing you justice, you see? So I really think that maybe even back then, there were certain beauty standards that were upheld simply because of like the strict fashion rules, So yeah. So anyway, when we're talking about beauty, we have to talk about things that are not only harmony, but things that we also find like evolutionarily good looking, which is, it is what it is. We find youth, this is a topic that has just been talked to death in a way. Youth is beautiful, health is beautiful, markers of youth and health, basically, are pretty beautiful. And a lot of channels do an amazing job of talking about this kind of stuff and getting into the science of it, but there is a solid scientific backing behind this, that there is such a thing as like a scientific version of beauty. And that, I do believe, is timeless. I do think that that's timeless. Even though our standards of beauty kind of shift throughout time, throughout the decades, throughout culture, still, I do think that there are some things that everyone finds beautiful, even if it's not trendy. Even during those times in the 90s where, the tall, thin supermodels were just everything, I still think people found Marilyn Monroe to be beautiful, you see? Like, even during those times, because she just is beautiful. She was like healthy and young, and so she looked beautiful. So there is that kind of like aspect to beauty that we can all keep in mind and sort of think about when we're trying to optimize our own beauty. And then finally, of course, there is the aspect of beauty that is something that kind of radiates from within in a way. And I don't mean necessarily that, I don't mean only being a good person, but it may be something where someone has a lot of dignity and a lot of self-respect, and so they come across as really elegant and sophisticated, like Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn has a certain kind of beauty to her, certain elegance, that is not only because of the way that she dresses, it's also because of how she carries herself. And there's something to that, and I think that kind of beauty is timeless and ageless, and we sort of recognize it. We recognize someone who has high standards for themselves, morally, intellectually, socially, and we really like that because humans are a pretty social species, and so we like people who are rising to these higher standards. The next aspect of beauty obviously is this idea of being a good person, like having your goodness and beauty radiate from within. And what reminds me of this is those people who have all these smile lines, and you can just see over the years how much positivity and everything that they've spread. And of course we can't talk about beauty without mentioning that. So I think that's really interesting. So that's all I have to say about beauty. Let me know your thoughts on beauty and timeless beauty and what makes beauty truly timeless. And if you're interested in booking a consult with me, then you can take a look at the link below on how you can book with me. And I will talk to you next time. Okay.